Bear.
So, Jordan, what was the name of that?
Let's move on. I didn't say anything.
Breeze, Breeze, listen, what is good? It's your boy PK. We are here, and of course, we got the squad in the building.
Yeah.
Of course, my man to my right, the man, myth, the legend himself, super producer Joe Holt. Mr. Media himself right here to my left.
Yo.
You know, where's the rib? We got my man, Superman C-Dub in the back. Oh, yeah, and Drew Better. If you knew better, who better? There you go.
Nobody, bro.
Nobody. Guess what? We have a full packed show for you all today because the Bulls, Bears, Jesus, Bulls. Bears have made some moves. They requested a lot of interest in, you know what, listen. Wow. I know.
We're going to be using that with a lot.
Jesus. Lord have mercy.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's keep to these topics. Let's keep to these topics.
Listen, we got a lot on the docket today. Bears have officially requested to interview Mike McCarthy. They also have done so with Todd Monken. We get to that as well. Should the Bears have won? This is a hotly debated thing amongst the crew because some people don't believe that the Bears should have went for this dub. I don't think it matters. I think we needed the win more than anything. And now, overall, we're going to rank Caleb Williams' rookie season. A couple of things that I think we all have some really strong opinions.
Yeah.
About. So let's get into it, man. First topic, though, someone I'm actually pretty huge on, Mike McCarthy, they officially requested the permission to interview him. He is still technically in a situation with the Cowboys, and they do have the opportunity to kind of match, coming to some agreement. I think they have to the 14th to do
just
that.
Wednesday.
Just a Wednesday?
Just a Wednesday.
Either way, they still have the opportunity to do that. However,
Wednesday contract ends.
Mike McCarthy is a successful head coach. Really successful head coach. In fact, as far as head coaching candidates are concerned, I think he has the highest win percentage. 60%. If I'm not mistaken, 60%. Hey, I'm gonna just round up because I kind of like this guy. I'm gonna round up to the 61%, not 60.
And he's age 61 too. Okay.
And Super Bowl, he's probably the youngest out of Vrabel as far as head
Vrabel's
coaches.
49, I think.
And then Brian Flores. Either way,
he's a good age.
He's a good age, right? He's healthy. He's gonna die on us anytime soon. My question for you all: what is your thoughts on Mike McCarthy, and ultimately, should this be somebody that we even really?
Before we do that, let's shout out to Breeze Nation. Number one in the chat was
Nova we got
0351 with the year Crimson in the building. Richard Schaefer, Baki, what's going on? KD, we got Nova 312 in the building.
Nova,
Bob Chimney, Steely E, and that's it so far. So good to see you guys. How's everybody going on this Monday? So, like you said, let's go.
Meaty Monday, baby.
Black Monday.
No, it's a meaty Monday.
It is Black Monday.
Black Monday.
Black
No,
Monday.
Definitely
Monday.
won today. I should have worn my victory glasses. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, they did win. Normally, we would try to recap the Bears game, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna recap because it's should the Bears have won.
That's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. By the way, before we get started, over 100 in the chat.
Good stuff.
You know, we go keep moving. Hey, JC,
hot and ready.
I'm hot and ready.
What's your take on this right now?
Well, hopefully I am hot and ready for a new head coach, but it's not going to be Mike McCarthy. He can slow down that train. No, he's not. I don't want him coming anywhere near this organization, honestly. But as far as like a head coaching candidate, you mentioned it right now. You look at the win percentage. I mean, you can't deny how successful he has been over the 18 years of him being a coach in this league. He's also been connected to the NFC North. He won the Super Bowl. That's kind of his shining achievement. So he's gotten there. He's been there in this division. And so, yeah, you don't overlook a guy like that when it comes to just the potential of what he can bring, the knowledge, the perhaps whatever kind of play calling or his vision for what this team can be. But here's my thing. I want someone who can come in. As I said, the most important priority for me is to maximize Caleb's talent. Caleb, which we'll get into later, had a up and down, but mostly up, I think, rookie quarterback year. But if you're talking about somebody that can take him to the next level, that can kind of be innovative when it comes to an offensive mind, I don't see that in Mike McCarthy. I see him as maybe a leader of men. I know that phrase you got on your nerves. I saw the video earlier and you're sick of hearing that. But I mean, if we're talking about, he's a leader. Sure, you want your head coach to be a leader. So that part of it, yes, he checks the box. I don't think he checks the box as far as being an offensive guru, which is kind of what I want in my next head coach.
I would say that what he brings would be some sense of stability. Like they've won. He won in Green Bay a lot. He's only been in Dallas for 5 years. They were 6-10 the first year, and they had three 12-win seasons, and then they just went 7-10 this year. But what's happening is that you have the players are getting older. Do we think that like Dak Prescott is like one of the best quarterbacks ever? No, but he does have him at a point where every year the Cowboys are contender, or at least they are contender for the division.
Dak had his best year with McCarthy. His statistical best year came with McCarthy. But the only issue I have with McCarthy is that he is not innovative enough offensively. He's going to bring that same system from Green Bay.
Right. So
is it time for a change, an upgrade, or are we fine with that?
Well, what I'm getting at is that he probably maxes the most he can get out of his quarterbacks. Because I at the point, even with when the rails was coming off, off in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers is, when McCarthy and all them were there. Like, I mean, Rodgers, how long was McCarthy? It's been 5 years. So the Green Bay really hadn't won much with when Rodgers was there, even with LaFleur, until it was time for them to move on with them as well, so they could, move on. But I like if we were to get him, I'm not mad at that move because he fits what we want, which is an offensive mind. Mm-hmm. If he's there, that means that there's a sense of stability because what we've all wanted for the most part was a coach. Like I never ever, none of us, I don't think ever wanted Matt Eberflus. We didn't want a defensive coordinator in here because then if they get hot, they get a good coordinator, he's going to leave. Mm-hmm. That's always was the issue. So it's like, and then on top of that, we really like him because he really wasn't that great anyways. So if we get a guy on the more offensive side of the ball that creates stability, because you can get a defensive coordinator easier, mm-hmm. in my opinion, than it is to get an offensive guy. Because they bring that system.
See that what you got for me?
I mean, I said last week. I think McCarthy is he's all right. I mean, I think that he did a solid job in Dallas. I mean, and then you got Dak Prescott, who is a little bit above mid to me. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if he helped Dak Prescott become a better quarterback, become more of a an all-pro quarterback, I'm cool with that. If he's somebody that's going to develop Caleb, I'm cool with that. At the end of the day, though, I do think that there's a higher ceiling that you should be achieving or looking to get. And that higher ceiling is in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, and his name is Ben Johnson. Mm. And that's the guy that you need to go after if you're striving for greater things. So that's my take on it. What's so funny?
Y'all be killing me, dog.
PK was trying to hold it in this whole time while you was talking.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, bro. Listen, this man said, maybe he's a little bit, he's a higher caliber coach. What's higher than 60% win percentage in the Super Bowl? I'm trying to figure it out. He has a better win record than he's coached more games than Pete Carroll, by the way.
All I'm saying is, do you think that McCarthy has a higher ceiling than what Ben Johnson could possibly have as your head coach?
That's the problem with Ben Johnson.
He ain't never been a head coach.
Yeah, he hasn't proven anything.
That's true. That's true. He's never been a head coach. He's been a coach for 18 years. Right. But this is the thing. Ben Johnson could be the next Mike Shanahan, or he could be the next Arthur Smith. Could be.
Like, there's a lot of guys that have talent, that's the thing. We all want to believe that he could be creative and that we want those type of things here. Does that translate also to being a head coach to run the entire team? He could.
He could be.
He could. We don't know. Now, also, Shanahan also still has 0 Super Bowl wins. Now, he's went to a few of them with the Falcons, and he went to 2. Was it 2 with the 49ers?
What?
2. He lost 2.
He lost 2.
They McCaffrey, and they lost I think he's been to 2 with the San Francisco. Mm-hmm. They just ain't won them. Right? Mm-hmm. So he's been to 3.
It's 2.
Right. So my point is, like, now technically I'm not gonna complain that because I'd like us to at least get to a Super Bowl. We had one coach that went to one Super Bowl, and then they walked him out the door after a while. So the thing is that Ben Johnson, the issue is that where we are at this point for this team, I don't know if you want to just I need a rookie to figure out how to be a head coach right now with our second-year quarterback, and we're trying to build this team, and we're trying to move ahead and actually have some type of winning system. Now he got to cut his teeth. We just got done. Basically, they're cooking Ryan Poles because he's still a third-year GM. You know what I'm saying? So how many times are we gonna keep getting all these rookies here on this billion-dollar organization trying to figure out how to win and do their job instead of we get somebody that comes in with a system? Now, the thing is that I think that Caleb has the potential to be a really good quarterback. So the whole point about being boring or creativity and all that type of stuff, to me, that lies with the quarterback you have. I don't know if Dak is that guy that gives you that type of creativity. He's a basic dude, and you get the most out of a basic quarterback.
Right.
Didn't y'all say he's like Kirk Cousins?
Let me ask you all this though. Who was Caleb Williams' favorite player?
Aaron Rodgers.
Who was responsible for that ascension?
Sorry, that was a good cook. Go ahead, keep going.
Who was responsible? I want y'all to answer.
Who was responsible for who's
his
ascension?
Mike McCarthy. Who's also the most accurate QB in history? Aaron Rodgers. Go look at Dak Prescott's completion percentage.
Sure about that? It's not true.
It might be Aaron. It's Aaron Rodgers, Drew. One of he up there, top two.
It is.
He up there. Hey, listen, he's one of them dudes.
Okay.
Hey, listen,
but
go look at Dak Prescott's completion percentage when Mike McCarthy gets there, and look at his career from that point, his production. Mike McCarthy can coach, and he's a good offensive coach, and he's actually coached the person who Caleb Williams has modeled his game after.
Sure, but listen, I never said
ain't no sure. He's coached the guy that Caleb wants to be like.
But honestly, it only has really worked in Green Bay. It hasn't worked all that well in Dallas.
And that's my point.
Whoa.
But look, kids,
they've had a winning.
Wait a minute. But Achilles says, yeah, but Mike McCarthy has won Super Bowl with a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'll take a Hall of Fame quarterback with the Super Bowl. Can we get? We only have one Super Bowl.
I'll take that.
Listen, there's so many people who are stuck in this whole thing that you got to be Brady to be successful.
What do you see?
You don't have to be Brady. You know how hard it is to get to a Super Bowl one time. We was just fortunate
it is extremely
to see
hard.
a level of dominance that we may never see again. It's happened twice. I mean, Pat Mahomes is great, but like let's be
the
for
49ers. Real. When you put a system in place with talent, and you can marry all of those things together. It's Bill Walsh, but he had Montana, and they put the system in place. So he ran off four Super Bowls with Montana. He gets another one with Steve Young. You get Brady with Belichick, and they put the system together, and they have this incredible run. Now you got Andy Reid, who's been a very good coach, because in my opinion, he's almost on the Andy Reid stuff, but he's already had a really good quarterback, and he's won. Where Andy Reid was killing and doing really good in Philly for years. He had a good quarterback with McNabb. That was his guy for years until he fell off. And he did well with all these other quarterbacks, Kevin Cobb, Michael Vick for a hot minute. Like he's had guys, but now he finally got the one.
Yeah.
And we might have the one to go with this with a good coach. And that's what it usually gets down to, a good system.
But see, you can't be scared. You can't be scared, right? And so here's what we're looking at, right?
Job on the line.
No. But I get what you're saying, though. But like the idea that, oh my God, Ben Johnson is a rookie coach. McCarthy's proven before in the past. He's won some games. He's done this. He's done that. I get it. I'm not saying that he's a bad candidate, and I'm not even saying that he's a bad coach. I think he's a good coach. But at the end of the day, if you got an opportunity to get somebody who could be, and of course, there's no proof yet, but could be great based on what he's done with Detroit, how he's elevated them to be the best offense. Jared Goff, he was an afterthought. Nobody even thought about Jared Goff until recently now, right? And so you want your quarterback to be able to develop and grow. Mm-hmm. In order for him to develop and grow, you need a coach that's going to get him there. We talk about Dak Prescott, and I get that. But at the end of the day, you look at Dallas and all the talent they have on that team, they haven't lived up to the expectation that was set on them. Mm-hmm. They should be winning way more playoff games. How many playoff games have they won in the last 5 years?
Let me ask you this. Has San Francisco lived up to their expectations?
No.
Have the Bills lived up to their expectations?
No.
Has Lamar Jackson and the Ravens lived up to their expectations?
No.
All the people I named were the best team in football at some point in the last 5 years. Not the Chiefs. Chiefs was up in that conversation, but we had the Bills better than the Chiefs. We had 49ers as they gotta win it. But all them dudes lost.
But your comparison to
well-constructed teams. Have the Lions won the Super Bowl?
No, they haven't. But here's what I'm saying to you, though. You look at those teams you name; those are still considered top-tier teams that you name, right? Yeah, maybe they didn't win the Super Bowl; they just ran into GOAT Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at where Dallas is at, they can't even get past the wild card round, let alone win a playoff game. So they're always underperforming. At least the other teams you name goes to the AFC Championship games, not Dallas.
I would say this.
We have to value. We have to find out what we value in a coach first. Are we valuing innovation, or are we valuing and we want someone that's already proven? Because that determines where do you go. If you go Ben Johnson or do you go McCarthy?
Right.
I think that's where we're at a crossroads. We're at the fork in the road where we keep going back and forth between what we know and what we don't know. So you're talking about the potential of Ben Johnson versus somebody that has a resume full of accolades and something that we want, which we've never even come close to in what is it now? Over 35 years, a Super Bowl.
Since the Honey Bears.
Since we had cheerleaders. So my thing is like, that's what we keep going back and forth on. You're looking at someone who, okay, are you scared to hire Ben Johnson because you just don't know what he can potentially do because he doesn't have the resume? But then when you look at his track record, he brought the offense of the Detroit Lions, which, mind you, in 2022, I don't think they were what they were now.
No,
they were still fifth in offense with a much lesser version of themselves than they are now.
They get better every year.
Fifth in offense. This year, clearly first in offense. So, yes, when you're talking about can Ben Johnson do it with maybe lesser talent and with the most talent, it looks like he's showing me that. So that's what I'm saying. You go off that potential, or are you going off of what you're saying? Well, 18 years of experience. This guy is connected to Aaron Rodgers. That's exactly who Caleb Williams models his game after. That's his favorite player. So would you go that route and kind of imitate him with that? And then what Pat is saying, I saw him in the chat saying, do you compare Mike McCarthy to Andy Reid? I think Andy Reid has a more offensive mind for the game. That's just my opinion. When he was in Philly and now in KC. But I don't think that you can maximize. Again, that's the main thing I go back to. I don't think you can maximize the potential of Caleb with the Mike McCarthy versus possibly what Ben Johnson can develop him into.
Now we got to keep this conversation going because there was another name that was actually kind of mentioned, and we got some other topics to get to. Kind of a late add-on to this, though. Real talk. And, by the way, before we do it, over 300 in the chat. Over 200 in the chat.
Oh, we doing it backwards.
You know what it is. Todd Monken was actually a name that was mentioned. It was a late addition to this docket, so I do apologize, Super Producer Joe Ho, for that.
Well, I got to actually go ahead. I'm gonna bring this up over here.
But he was mentioned as a name brought into the conversation. Monken is actually with the Ravens organization, another organization that's doing pretty well. I'm going to lean on you all because I have a little bit of knowledge on what he's brought to the table. But let's be honest, no one really looked at that name as a forerunner.
We
or
did
a premier name for this. Todd Monken was a premier name for you. Like you saw that coming
prior to. It was prior to him getting the Baltimore job. He was one of those guys that we looked at prior to him going over to Baltimore because he kind of runs when we had Fields, he ran something that we could have worked with Fields with. So it's kind of like different than with Caleb's strengths. It was more closer to Fields' strengths.
Wait, no, you're not talking about.
No, I'm talking about Monken.
No, you're not talking about Monken. You're talking about the guy that went to. He's with.
No, I'm not talking about the other guy.
He went with Hardball. You're talking about that system.
No, but Todd Monken runs a very similar system in Baltimore right now.
Yeah, I think like even with Baki's statement, like biggest issue with the whole head coach experience is that what we did with Fox, he had a resume of success in Carolina, Denver, went to 3 Super Bowls, won 1, brought him in, and he failed. To me, it's not that he failed. You're going to fail when you don't have a proper organization intact, and you guys are on the same page. The GM with the head coach, they couldn't even figure out who they wanted to pick in the draft. The GM wants to pick Trubisky, Fox wants, Deshaun Watson. Like nobody's on the same page. So I don't think he was going to win because you guys aren't aligned. The thing is that if who can work with polls is what this gets down to. What we don't want is, are we getting another as a pestilence? What's the term?
What?
There's a certain term that you just follow. He's just a follower of a coach versus being his own person. So the fear is that you bring in this kind of alpha mentality, alpha-minded guy that's going to want to force the GM out because he's going to eventually want to bring in his own GM and they're going to undermine him. It's like, who is going to be the right fit that works with polls as they all work together? So, Todd Monken, I would say that if I could, I'd rather more so go for the experience because I know you can hit the ground running and we can start to actually win instead of us, again, getting another coach, another good DC or another OC that comes in here and, they're very strong on one side of the ball. But how do we know that they're going to actually be the guy? So we've been through this so many times. Yeah. But now we have a quarterback, and the difference is you can't waste any more time. And everybody knows he's talented. This dude threw up 3,500 yards in a dumpster fire.
Yeah, in a dumpster fire.
This is not it.
4,000 total yards. Makes it sound better.
Here's the one thing I would say about Monken that I look at. It ultimately is does it bear fruit? And Monken in his 2 years at Baltimore has produced the best years of Lamar Jackson's career.
Yeah, being an MVP.
So I mean,
potentially again this year.
Potentially again will be his fourth one if he does it again, right? It was
third.
Yeah. And now Lamar Jackson's thrown for the most yards in his career, over 40 touchdowns. Now, so you already have a proven, quarterback, but again, his whole offense looks different. Of course, that helps when you have Derrick Henry and everything like that. But
the running game is real.
Let's be for real.
The running game is serious in Baltimore.
It is, but they've curtailed that whole thing to what he does well.
Spell it.
And that's one thing.
Oh, snap.
He's curtailed that. We'll skip past that one. Listen.
Hang on, I got to look that up. How do you spell curtail?
Curtail.
That's it.
I thought I was going to say, leave me alone. But he's curtailed that whole thing to Lamar Jackson's strength. And so because he's done that, it gives me the faith that if that was someone chosen, he would do the same thing for Caleb. I'm not saying it would. He's not top of my list, but it was a name that was mentioned. I felt it was a good honorable mention as a lead topic.
Caleb Williams, comparably to Lamar Jackson, isn't technically the same kind of quarterback. I mean, you have some similarities when it comes to them being mobile and the ability to scramble. We know how Caleb runs. He runs like a chicken with his head cut off. But Lamar Jackson is more of a lethal runner who can kill you literally with his feet at any point in time. But Todd Monken, I think when you compare, like you said, having the best years of Lamar Jackson's career when he already had an MVP, he got an MVP last year, and then the fact that he probably can be up for MVP this year again, less interceptions, passing is on point. I mean, yes, that's what you want in the building. You could possibly develop. I feel like my voice went down.
41
possibly develop, Caleb into potentially. So that's all I want to see is, again, just maximize QB1. Maximize QB1. The fact that he put up the numbers that he did in an abysmal season where it was chaos all over the place. There were times where you couldn't connect with the receivers throughout the season. Like you ended off the season with 3,500 yards. There's no telling how good your career can be with the right pairing. So yeah, sure. I'm fine with the Todd Monken getting the chance to come here.
I think that what it gets down to is that you're the head coach comes in, clearly they might be a little more skewered towards a certain skill position, whether it is the quarterback is the main guy. What defensive coordinator are you going to bring in if you're an offensive guy? Are you going to be able to keep this defense in place? I imagine we're going to still be running a 4-3. I don't think we're going to sit there and change. You can't. If you just finally figured out that Dexter is your nose tackle. So they're going to still stay in that same type of defense if they're going to go with a more nickel, or are they going to go to a more traditional 4-3. This year, but you could still keep pretty much your 4-3 kind of defense. So all those are going to be a factor in terms of what head coach is going to come in here. What kind of system is he going to bring in? Is he organized? Can he do those things? I'm hoping those are the type of things that they're going to be looking at, and that it's not just a good old boys network and you'll work and we can just make this thing happen. But I think it was a big black eye for everybody. Like, you have to coach players. You really have to scout and coach players. I think they really thought Caleb Williams was going to come in here and just pretty much plug and play and be a little bit better than what Justin Fields did. And this thing went off the rails pretty quick.
You had a list, a graphic of other names that they were interviewing. You mind pulling that up?
Yeah.
The reason why is because it's a bunch of individuals that's on this list. And this is just a side note. By the way, some names on here you can completely disregard. Listen, Mike Kafka.
Shout out to Ringo.
Hey, listen, Mike Kafka. Listen, okay.
Get out of here.
Bye.
Yeah, listen, that's a huge miss. I don't even know why that guy's there. Listen, I thought that was a diversity type thing right there because I don't know what's going on there. But everybody, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think we can all agree that Mike Vrabel ain't coming.
No, once you got rid of Mayo.
Yeah, once they got rid of Mayo,
and
it was a wrap.
I said that. I said if we get Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, it sounds like he's going to go. I said that. I'm like, that's what I want. I want McDaniels here with Vrabel if we get that dude.
So now
he's gonna go home.
He's gonna go.
He's gonna go home.
He gotta go home.
Yeah,
with Drake and
and even
pretty much said it.
And even I think Steve will put it in the chats. Vrabel's not staying in the 4-3.
No, I mean that makes sense.
That's a sound point.
You know what we forgot?
It's a sound point.
Calvin brought up. Shout out to Calvin C. About
Gruden.
No,
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
We're
okay with Spider White Banana.
Too much
controversy.
Controversy.
Yeah.
Oh, you scared of the Gruden emails?
Oh, I'm scared of Gruden.
Yeah.
Chucky Chucky don't need to be in Chicago.
No, Chucky going back. If anything, he's going back to Oaktown.
Okay.
Well, I tell you
have a good time.
Have a good time over there. Then we're gonna keep this thing moving along. We're gonna get to this next topic because you know what? This is it has some implications on where we land in the draft. And some players may have slipped out of our grasp, maybe not. Kind of depends on where you are in that. But should the Bears, even though it was a great win, we needed this win, should the Bears have gone for it? No. Should the Bears have actually sat there and just put up a good fight, but missed this field goal? Yes. Like ultimately. And now let's break down why that's the case. I know JC, this is a hot topic for you. I'm gonna let you introduce that one right there.
Look here, man. Should they have won the final game? If it was anybody else other than the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field, I would have said, you know what? Forget this game. Let's get as high of a draft pick as we want. Because it's the freaking Packers in Lambeau Field, you dang right I wanted to win this game. I don't care where we placed the draft at.
Hot and ready.
I'm hot and ready. I wanted to win. You go into the offseason on a high like that? Yeah, okay, you go down one spot from 9th to 10th. Maybe you could have went up to as much as 7th, I believe.
All the way to 7th.
Oh, all the way. Oh, whoa. Oh, so 2 steps up. Like come on now.
Hey, 3 inches is a big deal.
All right. Whoa. Hello there. Hello, my darling. Hello, my babies. Hello, my.
Wait a minute. Hey. But did he lie, though?
No lies told. I'm just saying. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Listen, he was definitely fast, but he wasn't out ready.
Hey, yo.
Yo.
No, I'm just saying, man. No, you win this game, man. You go out on a high. Like you. First of all the records were broken. We haven't won in Lambeau Field since 2015. We haven't won against the Packers in the last 11 games. Bro, that's crazy. Like, think about that.
That's crazy.
I want that done.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams has never lost to them in Lambeau Field. That's all I'm going to say. And in 2025, the Bears are 1-0 and the Packers are 0-1. That's all I'm going to say.
If they didn't screw up, they probably would have been sweeping these marks.
Exactly. Another field goal. Like we lost to them off of a blocked field goal.
We lost by 1. I thought we was going to lose by 1 again.
I did too. You was so Nick. He was like, bro, ain't nobody. We're done.
I want to get something out. Thomas Brown did learn something. They put a bigger guy in the spot.
Matt Pryor. They put Matt Pryor. Yep, they mentioned that
last time. They put a bigger guy there.
So
he's going to be a good OC eventually because he's smart.
It almost got blocked. When you look at
it, it did almost get blocked. The pressure was coming down on him.
Almost only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes.
But you know what? I look at it like this though, Jordan. I see what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
And there's a small part of me that agrees with you because initially I was completely on the opposite end of what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
I wanted them to lose completely. Until I saw the reaction that the team had and Caleb had after they won. That reaction was this authentic, like, we did it. We beat the beast. We beat the final boss. Like we finally did it. Right. It's such an emotional reaction. And that's also the bigger reason as to why I say they should have lost. Because emotionally, you're right. Like, we needed this, right? We need this pickup win. But realistically and logically, it would have been better for us to lose. I mean, we're picking 10 now. We would have been picking 7. 3 spots is a big difference. And at the end of the day, it's like, all right, what if the guy maybe the Bears are trying to get in the draft, whether that's a guard or a tackle or somebody on that line or a center, and he comes and they end up he end up getting picked before 10. Then we're screwed. And so that at the end of the day, I feel like, it's an emotional reaction to say, hey, I don't care. The Bears should have won because the Packers, and I get that, and I saw the reaction the team had, and I did love that. But on a bigger picture, maybe we might look back on this and say, dang, we should have lost this game.
Hold on. First of all, look, we got a starting tackle at 10 2 years ago.
Oh, is that new news?
Darnell Wright.
And Darnell Wright.
Giants retained head coach Brian Dable?
No, it's not new news.
That's not new. That was earlier today. They kept Shane, whatever his name is.
All right, cool.
They kept all that.
I was making sure. I thought I missed something.
But no, we're still going to be in a good spot, guys. Like at 10, I hear you. It's better to protect and get a better you want a nice crack at one of the better tackles if you can. They still got us right now. If you go to Tankathon, we're at 10th. They give us Kelvin Banks Jr. at 10. Will Campbell,
He's the first tackle.
He's the
overall.
second.
No,
He's the second
tackle.
overall.
The first tackle will
Kelvin
go.
Banks is ranked
They
first
have
over Will.
I'm
No,
just
but
going to
no,
read it to
no,
you
they
right
got-
here. They got Will Campbell going.
The latest
9.
thing they got Will going before Banks.
They got him going 9.
I
Kevin
agree
Banks
with-
10.
Okay, all right.
What I'm saying is also
Tomato.
you still got Josh Simmons at 18. There's going to be linemen. Now, clearly, the whole point is scouting and who's going to be the guy.
Right.
So, yes, you got a shot to get one of these linemen. The whole key is the hit. Darnell Wright has been a hit. It can happen. So we don't know. I mean, last year it was all about Joe Alt, but Joe Alt was a top 5 pick. There was no way we was getting that guy unless we trade up. Is Will Campbell a top 5, top 10 guy? I don't know. Kelvin Banks, all those guys might be in a similar vein in terms of being able to be a comparable starting offensive lineman day one.
It's probably going to change when it gets to the oh my God, what's it
The
called?
combine.
The combine.
I agree.
Right, the combine.
You don't know who's going to be a
the
riser.
combine. Right, it's going to really differentiate, your top level talents on the line versus your ones you can get in your later rounds.
Yeah, there'll be people that'll rise. There'll be people that'll drop. I actually agree with you, Drew, because I mean, from one mock draft or one website to another, because I'm on CBS Sports right now, and they have Will Campbell position ranked 2nd, and they got Kelvin Banks going higher than him in the draft. Funny thing is, and I know PK probably sees this too, they actually have Will Campbell dropping to us at 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, in a dream scenario, I'll take that all day.
Yes.
So you get the best of both worlds. You beat the Packers, and you still get the guy that we apparently have been clamoring over in Will Campbell from LSU, 6'6", 323 pounds. I mean, I'll take that as a good start for the
Joe, that
draft.
was a dog. That was a dog.
By the way, what we got? So 400 in the check.
Oh, 400.
Oh, 400 in the check. Hey, I'm claiming my 400. It said 4 or 5. And when I get it, it's gonna be 4 or 5 in a second. Bring your mama's back. Anyway, hey, with that being said, though, I'm gonna say this. The win was needed because you can't go into this offseason on that low. You can't go into the offseason with the DJ Moore fumble.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Caleb not connected.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to think about what happened in that last
The
drive.
morale of
Yeah,
the core of this team is still building, and if you can have that confidence building,
absolutely.
Yep.
Let's think about it. That last drive, that's a Caleb and DJ Moore play that he switches to apparently at the line. If people are saying that, if that's true, great. They make a move. We get down there. We execute on a play that I had no faith that we were going to execute on as a team. I had no faith that we were going to sit there, execute a play with 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Get down there, spike the ball to set this field goal.
You're right, because Caleb
Caleb
called the timeout. The timeout didn't
Caleb
come from
was
the
using
sideline.
timeout. So
It came from Caleb.
So all of this is like, hey, you need that morale boost to go in there. If you saw some clips from I think the Bears put out there of how Caleb was in the tunnel going out, how much of a morale boost it was from him.
Yeah.
I want my young QB to go into the offseason mentally prepared and ready to go to war and get better, not sitting there on a low, down in the dumps, all these questions around it. We saw some things from this team against a good defense that we hadn't seen in the previous weeks.
Yeah, they were a little bit tightened up on their assignments this week. I don't know if it was just the allure of, hey, we can't lose to these guys or at least get blown out by these guys. This is our hated rival. We got to come to play and come to play hard for Thomas Brown because we've let him down the last 4 games. That definitely was on display. I agree with you though. I saw that image or that little clip of Caleb going through the tunnel and just saying, let's go. This is just the start going into next year. Like he's already thinking ahead to 2025. Like there are ups and downs and highs and lows in this year, but man, we're moving forward. We're and then in the locker room, the speech he gave before he gave the game ball to Thomas Brown, like this is a quarterback that understands the bigger picture, and I think that if we again get the right picks, get the right players to surround him, watch him take off even more and be special.
I'm very impressed. I ain't gonna lie. Some of the stuff that made me kind of apprehensive of the Bears picking Caleb last year was some of the stuff I seen when he was losing games. I think the Notre Dame game and how he handled the press conference and him being overly emotional and things like that and crying, like all that stuff I didn't want to see in my lead player, my lead quarterback, leading men. But at the end of the day, I think through these 17 games, he handled himself very professionally. You could tell this kid is like he's in it to win it. He got that dog in him, and at the end of the day, I'm excited about going into next season. And that's what I'm saying. That's the small part of me. It's like I'm excited about the win. I'm logically, I'm like I want a higher draft pick, but at the end of the day, it does make more sense on the grand scheme of things for them to go in with confidence, knowing that they beat the team that they can't beat for the last 5-6 years.
Shout out to Crimson. He said confidence isn't enough. I'm glad they got good feels, but they need to get better at playing football. And I think that, when you add that, the thing is that confidence does add to those
confidence
things
is part
players.
of the game too, though.
Yep. Getting a good coach with a real system. Now, this quarterback knows he can play the game.
Yeah.
There's been a number of times where he's led them down the field and the coach has failed them, or the special teams failed them, or the defense has failed him, where he knows I can do what I have to do. What the next step is him actually winning the game. Him throwing the touchdowns versus doing the Tom Brady stuff. Let me get you down the field, add a Vinatieri, kicks the field goal, boom, and now I'm a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like eventually there are building blocks. And what Caleb, I think, experienced in adversity, in the frozen tundra, in Green Bay, and was able to punch them in the mouth and be able to win. And all of that was good. It was good for Rome. It was good for DJ. So to be able to rebuild this offensive line. Now, what's interesting is they only gave it 1 sack.
And that was on Caleb.
And it was on Caleb. But they gave up 1 sack. Yeah. So it's like some of that is coaching. Some of that is Caleb. Some of that is like, how much do we need to fix this team? Because the whole point is that picking 10th means we're probably going to get I don't know if we're going to necessarily rebuild the entire offensive line. I personally would like a better left tackle. But for some reason, Braxton Jones gets the PFF rates and everything else, and he's graded high.
Overrated.
Yeah.
It sounds like Tevin Jenkins is probably not going to be here.
That's another topic.
Which I would like Tevin Jenkins to be here on more of an incentive-based type of situation, because I don't see a lot of guys out there that we can just get. And so if we go to the draft, we definitely need 2 starters. We need a center. And I don't even know if you can start.
We need a center, a guard, and a tackle. If Tevin leaves, and more than likely,
guard.
I bet you Trey Smith is not going to get out from Kansas.
I'll tell you what, it's not enough for a standalone topic, but we got enough time here. Why don't we talk about it now?
That's fine. I mean, just
the
briefly.
whole Tevin thing is a big thing. He might be testing free agency and things like that. Nature. I wish him the best. I don't think he's coming back here.
There's no contract negotiations.
It depends on.
I wouldn't want him back here.
I do want him back here. I want him back here on a legitimate contract. Is he worth? He's not worth top tier guard money, but he is worth a incentive laden contract.
How many games?
Let's put it. Hold on. Let's put an asterisk on that though. He's not worth top tier guard money because
he's unhealthy.
He's unhealthy, not because of what he does on the field. Let's make that very clear.
His skill set is fine. It's
Tops.
his health.
Yes,
it's health.
Yeah.
So you can't pay him top tier guard money if he's not going to be on the field from between 14 to 16 games, because you might miss a game. I'll give you 1 or 2 games.
Yep.
So at least 14 to 15 games a year, you have to suit up.
So look, you got to ask this question. We got 5 linemen, right? We know we have a right tackle in Darnell.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's about it.
It sounds like they might go into the season with Braxton as your 2 bookends.
I don't think so.
I don't want Braxton.
I don't think so. I think they're going to get a left tackle.
Well, hold on. So that leaves us with this 10th pick, which either ends up, if Calvin Banks is there, that means that's a left tackle.
That's fine. I'll take Kelvin or Will.
Or do you move him to a guard? So
you can keep him at his natural position.
You can move Karam into as a guard, maybe.
I'm sick of the experimenting with
go to big man camp and get better and develop as an offensive lineman over the offseason.
You better hope.
And then I think you take Jake Majors in the second round
Center.
and let him learn to be a center, and you might have to sign a free agent center.
There's some centers out there.
Just
Drew Dahlman, Ryan Kelly, I think maybe.
Yeah.
There's some
Those
names out there.
As a bridge center.
Yeah.
And so you come in the draft, so you stuck with Braxton unless we get another left tackle. You come in and get the new rookie guard if it's Will Campbell, or if it's Kelvin Banks, then maybe you do make him as your left tackle. You got your
he's starting over Braxton.
Fine with me. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
And so we still need our right guard because we haven't fixed that yet.
Well, I mean, Matt Pryor did okay with this year. I'll take Matt
pick.
Pryor.
You can put
Pryor
in as guard. He's a swing guard. He plays on the left and right side.
Yeah, he does.
So you can put Pryor in on the right side, and hopefully that with a good center, able to maybe help him out, so he plays a little bit better. Because he wasn't bad. He just wasn't top tier as you want.
Let's play this game seriously.
Oh boy.
Yeah, let's play.
If Tevin's on the market and you need somebody to come in, are you going to pay him $10 million? Are you going to give him a Nate Davis contract?
Yes.
That's
if you can get $10 million to a walking nobody,
because we know he'll play if he plays.
Yes. Look,
I'll give him
day-to-day
what Nate Davis money.
I'm giving him $10 million just to be on the field. The dude Nate Davis is a walking giant that does nothing. He did nothing for that $10 million. Of course, I'm gonna give it to a hobbled Tevin Jenkins in a minute. He can do more hurt than Nate Davis did ever healthy.
If Pose does that and Tevin comes in injured and has the same production he does this year, they're gonna hang him out to dry.
They're not gonna hang him out to dry.
Regardless.
They hanging him out to dry now. What are they talking about?
They hang him out to dry because he signed the guy.
The city don't want him.
Everybody likes Tevin. They just wish he would stay healthy. Pose. Everybody's doing that now because of Caleb getting sacked. 68 times now?
It's 68. Yeah.
Guess what? If he's not available when you need him, it doesn't make it doesn't matter.
The situation.
That's the
Who's
risk
the best
you take.
player available as a free agent?
Hold on a second,
is the question.
Hold on a second. Caleb went on the record and said more than half of his sacks was on him needing to evolve in his pocket presence.
I love that.
So everything doesn't really fall on Pose when in regards to the offensive line. If he said, "I need to get better in my pocket presence,"
I think both are true though.
So my point is, so my point is saying that is if you give Jenkins a contract and he's on the field for those times, I don't think he's going to lose any more credibility than he already has.
I think even Breeze Nation, I'm seeing some of the comments for the most part. I think everybody agrees. We're all consistent. We like Tevin. We want him to stay healthy. I prefer him to be here if we can afford to keep him and not overpay. Because now if he plays and it's incentives and he does his thing, I mean, he did play, 14 games?
Yeah, he played hurt a lot of games, which, I mean, to his credit, you tried to fight through some of those injuries. But overall, you got to get healthy, guy. You got to get it this offseason. If we somehow retain him, you have to be healthy to at least stay on the field a little bit more consistently. But to Drew's point, I think both can be still true. Both can be the reality. It's on Caleb to still have better pocket presence, but then it's also on Ryan Pose to make sure he spends more money on his line. You have the second cheapest offensive line in the league. That's going to produce bad play. When you don't put money into talent and you don't draft talent in the first or second rounds for tackles, that's going to produce itself eventually. You're going to have a horrible line.
He started a lot of games. He didn't finish a lot of them.
He played in 14.
No, he played 14. He's played
14.
the most.
He played 14
of his career. This year was
the longest time.
The most of his whole career.
Yeah, his whole career. Well, he's only been in the league.
So let's call a spade because I remember some of those games he started and he was. Hey, listen, Tevin's out. We heard that a lot.
He's only been in the league 3 years.
That's
4.
As Pat has always said, fat guys don't get healthier.
No, they don't. There's a lot of pressure on their body. Yeah,
but he hasn't had the major injuries he had in the first part of his career. These are more soft tissue ankle injuries that, with a little scope, in the off season, he might be. It might be a little bit healthy.
Frankly,
I'm gonna add this too.
I wish him the best, but
you
Ryan
don't
Poe shouldn't
say he's out of here.
But the other thing is, we don't know what the new if there's an offensive line coach, there's a strength conditioning, all those things are factors in some of these, these players. You'll see how certain players, there's a rash of injuries because they all kind of do the same type of workouts or however the strength conditioning coaches. So we don't know what changes are going to come in next year with a new offensive staff.
Yeah, you doggone right, because I want Chris Morgan out of here.
Yeah,
he's out of here. So
thank you, Baki.
What
he didn't miss a lot of time, but he didn't finish a lot of the games either. That's all I'm saying. He didn't finish a lot of these games. So all I'm saying is this: if he's available on a very team friendly deal, and I do mean very team friendly,
is Nate?
What would you pay him?
Is Nate friendly?
You wouldn't pay.
I wouldn't pay contract friendly.
He got a treat. He on a free prove it deal for the year.
Hey, listen. Oh yeah, I pay him that $8 million we gave Swift. And I do that because I mean that was a non-existent.
That's the 10 million
incentive, and then incentive up to 15 or something like that.
If
you're a starting guard, you're up there in that 15-20 mil.
The best ability is always availability. If you're not available when we need you, guess what? That's how my QB ends up with a near record breaking season in sacks.
I like what Troy said. Move Tev back to right guard.
I agree. I don't know why they don't stop.
That was the best that the line looked. Shout out to
you. Also had a better Darnell Wright. Yeah.
Yes. I
don't know. That's not rocket science.
Yeah, stop moving the guy around so much.
Which is people were down on Wright, and I was like, that's because he didn't have a solid person next to him. He didn't know what that person was going to do and not do.
Nope.
Once you get a solid person next to you, it elevates your gameplay.
Yes,
so
and how do we know
the right side? So much better.
And how do we know if you got competent freaking linemen next to you, you're not necessarily overcompensating? You got freaking Coleman Shelton laying on his back, getting just destroyed every almost possession.
79th Street.
You know, and it's like, well, that's the guy I'm playing next to, and it's like, dang, I'm trying to make sure my quarterback don't get hit.
Yeah.
How do we know that all those aren't factors when the line is all together is better? So I'm not going to beat up on Tevin like that.
By the way, we got over 300, 400 people here. I need y'all to hit this like button, man. I need y'all to hit this like button. I need y'all to subscribe, hit the bell. Y'all know what to do.
Y'all playing around.
Y'all play around. Listen, I'm gonna start playing some weird music like Kevin Samuels used to do. Until the lights get up. That's what I'm gonna do.
I used to sit there too
and just wait. I ain't gonna start talking till the lights get up. Like I'm gonna start doing that. Watch.
That big, yeah.
Hey man, we're gonna move into this last topic because we got to.
Stupid picture. Hey yo, Coleman Shelton's back getting destroyed.
79th Street.
Hey yo,
Jesus.
Hey, it's a lot that goes down on the 9. So yeah,
there's a lot that goes down on the 9.
He the one that's right. Pat acting surprised, like, whoa, what'd you do that for?
My virgin ears.
Hey man, we're gonna move into this next topic because we gotta talk about it. The season is over. It ended on a high note, but overall, you know, people are coming to this conversation with mixed emotions about Caleb Williams' season. Some people are calling it a waste. But I think there's a lot that come out of it. So it's question to the table. What are the key takeaways from Caleb Williams' rookie season? I'm gonna start this way because this man has had a lot to talk about in regards to that.
That's my quarterback, man. My quarterback.
Hey, we got one, baby. We got one.
Nah, you know, like I said, this man with his 30,541 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. 3,500 yards. What happened?
30,000.
3,541.
We love 30,000 yards for the season.
Hail Mary every
I think the funniest thing is us pointing out how funny he runs. That was one of the funniest things over the whole
time. Hilarious.
I need him to scamper downfield sometimes. He only scampers to the sideline. I need him to go that way. Hey, listen, don't do this. Go that way.
But you know what I liked about him is that he wants to throw the ball more so than he's trying to run. So to me, I'm seeing a guy that wants to play quarterback. I like that. You know, that's
you
my
like
thing.
That?
Is that what I said? 30? I did say 30,000.
I told you he said 30,000. I was like, hey man, we're in the Super Bowl. Why are we 5-12 if he threw 30,000 yards?
Listen,
that's a conundrum.
He threw it the other way.
3,541 yards. Anyways, I like the fact that he had only 6 interceptions on the year as a rookie. Yeah. These numbers are kind of standard quarterback numbers. Yeah. 20 and 6. When do you have that touchdown interception ratio?
And he missed about 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, yes, he did. Or a couple of them got called back.
Yeah.
How many got called back?
So you can say he's pretty much in the 30 touchdown mark if he hits at least half of those one he missed.
So no, I'm happy that we finally have a quarterback and he's tough. The thing is, he doesn't even look like he was sacked 68 times. He
not.
doesn't come across like he was beat up. Like he gets up. Like
well, there was that one game where he was
he
like,
did get rocked. The only one I can't do this one time.
My ribs.
He tried to sit up. He was like,
that joke, yeah. He was fit.
I remember that too.
He was like, "Mommy." There was one time
he needs some milk.
Oh,
That was hurt.
he got rocked. He did, but for the most part, all
Yeah.
that adversity that he went through, to me, he comes across very tough and very resilient. So I was very happy that this young man as a quarterback is like something that we can all root for. And the funny thing is, I'm like, the Bears suck, but I'm like, I have to watch the Bears-Packers game because I just want to see Caleb. I want to see what he does. So I'm pleased. I mean, I'm not pleased that the season was trash, but then again, we weren't wrong about how bad our coach was. The offensive coordinator just was. I can't believe that he failed us like he did with him. But imagine what he would have done with a real coordinator.
Yeah.
So no, I'm happy that we got a guy.
What he would have done with a real line. We're gonna go to C-Dub. What you got for us?
Man, at the end of the day, I mean, I think we're all excited that we got a future quarterback. You know, and this is something that we've never really had. I mean, yeah, it was exciting watching Justin Fields. He had a lot of ups and downs with his career and what he did here in Chicago. But at the end of the day, I mean, there was improvement made by the quarterback that we drafted this year. Anytime you can go over 3,500 yards, you might be the only Bears quarterback to do so. That's big time. So he's made some big plays this season. His TD to interception ratio is really good. I think that might be the best TD to interception ratio in the last few years for a rookie quarterback. So that's really good. He did have some lows, though. So there's some peaks and there's some valleys. Obviously, a lot of deep ball misses. I want to see a lot of improvement going into next year with Caleb, right?
Yeah.
Those deep ball misses are big time. There could have been a lot more explosive plays happening, but he missed the mark a lot. And a lot of that could have been just shaking confidence because in college, he was hitting those deep ball passes. But at the end of the day, I think that his highs far outweigh his lows. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he do under somebody like hopefully a Ben Johnson that's going to develop him and help him have better schemes. But Caleb Williams, I think it was a pretty good season. I think it was solid overall. It wasn't excellent. It wasn't bad. It was just good.
I just want to point this out, and I did this on purpose because I love C-Dub. I really do. You're my guy. You're my boy, Blue.
That's amazing.
You're my boy. You're my boy, Blue.
He said that's amazing.
But you know, Justin Fields last season. Justin Fields last season here. It's coming. 2,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, 9 INTs. That's perfect right there. I just want to throw this out there. People are going to say, "Well, he had so many better targets." I think Justin Fields had a slightly better O-line. Slightly better. It's about the same.
He's still hiked. The ball's still getting hiked over his head.
The ball's still hiked over his head. So maybe all things considered, maybe the same thing there, right? Yeah. Same trash O-line.
Well, Caleb had two better receivers.
He had better overall talent around him.
We had
DJ was there with Justin.
No, well, he had Mooney.
Mooney's out there catching dots.
Oh yeah,
he's out there
Mooney's
catching dots right now. I'm saying
that's true.
Yes, he is.
Hey, Mooney out there looking like a stud.
For fantasy purposes, I had Mooney, and he for fantasy purposes. And he was solid.
But honestly,
I just want to throw that out there, though.
So here's the thing, though. I think with the weapons, though, and don't get it wrong. Like I said, I like the quarterback that we have. I'm confident moving forward that he's going to be a really good quarterback, potentially a multi-year Pro Bowl type quarterback every other year, right? At the end of the day, I do think with the talent around him, the offensive receivers, I mean, he probably should have had more yards. He should have had more touchdowns. You know, a lot of it was playing scared, right? Like, I'm scared of throwing to deep cover. I'm scared of throwing to double cover. Like, it's a lot of things he could have did better as far as throwing the ball and getting into his open receivers or getting to the players going downfield that he didn't do. And that's why he only got 6 interceptions. A lot of that is just apprehension of really letting the ball loose.
It's kind of hard to let the ball loose when you're in your third offensive coordinator and things like that. I also think it's probably good ball security. It's like, hey, I'm not going to force this ball in a spot that doesn't make sense. Because we've seen him make some tight throws. We've seen him make throws.
He's made some tight
Justin
throws.
ain't going to make. All I'm saying is I want to bring that to you because you were so against Caleb Williams. You were so against Caleb Williams, and now he's your quarterback.
I had logical.
We have been on. It's like okay, listen.
I'm teasing him.
I'm about to say now, like he done went the whole year. Like
I don't think.
Now, do we agree that Calvin did no research whatsoever over the summer?
No research.
He did none. But he over the year, it's been over the season now. I don't think we can beat him up about it anymore.
I'm not beat up. I'll be honest with you. At the end of the day, I'm still if the Bears had decided to keep Justin Fields and trade back the number 1 pick and get a nice haul for it, today I would have still been happy about that. Honestly, I would have been happy about it.
I wouldn't have.
Hey, everybody got different opinions.
Hey, man, listen.
If you got an opinion that you don't like Justin Fields, that's totally fine.
I just brought that up because I like messing with you, but ultimately, Caleb is our quarterback.
I love Justin Fields, but after watching the whole season and the ball placement that Caleb had over the year, you can see that Caleb is the better quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he is.
If you're talking quarterback standards, if you're talking about the better runner, better athlete, oh yeah, hands down, Justin wins. But if you're talking about strictly quarterback play, talking about anticipatory throws, winning the ball in tight windows, then Caleb wins hands down. And for me, I consider it a good season for Caleb because his deficiencies coming out of college was about his attitude. Whether he was willing to win and things of that similar. And he showed that he is tough. He took his beating. He got up and said, hey, I'm going to be better. I need to get better. Let's start 2025 off with me increasing my skill set and pocket presence to be a better quarterback. That's what you want.
There you have it, homeboy.
I'm not mad at having Caleb Williams. Don't get it twisted. I like Caleb Williams. No, I like Caleb Williams. I'm still going to stand on 10 toes down on the idea that if they had kept Justin Fields and traded back the number 1 overall pick, I would have still been fine with that to this day. We might have won more games, if I'm being honest with you.
We've still been bad.
I'm cool with the future. The future is good in the hands of Caleb Williams. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad if they would have kept Justin Fields.
The fact that he still feel the need to explain.
Well, no,
he still feel the need to explain his Caleb dog.
What's interesting to me is that but it was funny is when the Bears did draft Justin Fields, for example, everybody had respected him that he could throw the ball. No, because I'm about to tie it together. So what you didn't know in college was that he could throw the ball, right? And then he ends up there. Everybody was shocked about how much of a runner he was. Now with Caleb, everybody thought he was a prima donna, and then you realize like this kid is tough. And the thing is, I think the biggest knock more so is him wanting to always play off script versus him really being able to be honed in. Yeah. The issue is that the coaching failed him to be put in situations to succeed. Because I always said time and time again, how do you protect your rookie quarterback? A strong running game and a defense. And we didn't develop that running game. We did not develop our offensive line. Our offensive coordinator did not put that rookie in position. He probably would have dang near had 4,000 yards, if not more, if you put the right coaching in place for him to succeed. You guys let him basically run, let him run everything, run all kind of what you call it, audibles. He's changing everything up. Like there's a certain point where it's like, nah, kid, you got to this is what we need you to do. And so there were certain points that made him that was very valuable about him, especially in those fourth quarters where he's driving and making those key throws when the game was almost like the pressure was on and you saw him not wilt. That's what I appreciated about that too.
Yeah. If I had to put a grade on it, because I like grading, I'm actually going to give him a B. I initially thought about it being a C because the whole season as a whole has been mid, but I'm going to give him a little bit higher of a grade because of the resilience, because of the attitude and the things that we questioned going into drafting him. Like Calvin said, like you said, Joe, like Pete, all of us have said basically we didn't realize how much of a positive leader he was going to be. And every time you saw him come up onto that podium after each loss, the loss kept piling up and piling up. Not once did you see him kind of say, yeah, hey, it is what it is, get down, have a depressed mood. Like it was always, hey, we got to get better. I got to get better. We got to get better. I got to get better. It was a positive attitude or a positive aura that he had, even going into this last game. The fact that you won, he even admitted it doesn't mean anything. It's still a lost season, but the fact that we won and we're going into the off season on a high, that's the makeup that I wanted to see that I didn't know he had. that everybody was questioning. We don't talk about him painting fingernails no more. That's a thing of the past now. We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
And the fact that Eric Kramer's record, by the way, I didn't realize how close he was, 3,838 yards and 95. Yep. That's the passing record. Yeah, 35-41. That's when I did some quick, man. What is that? 297 away.
Almost 300 yards.
That's 297 away, bro. Like, you're almost there in a bad season. So, yes, all in all, highs and lows. Yes, he has to work on his efficiency and his accuracy down the field. But I saw a little bit of improvement in that in a few passes during the end of the season. I'm not really too, high on, or rather too worried about him improving that in the offseason. The biggest thing I need him to do is to not always look for the hero ball pass. Take what's there. All in all, make sure you get the short passes, keep gaining yards, take what the defense gives you so you don't hold on to the ball too long and get sacks that are created by you and not the line.
I like grades too. I'm gonna give him a B-.
B-. That's but
I'm gonna give him a B-. And the reason
I have to give him a little more than that.
I'm gonna give him a B- for two reasons. One,
B- is fair.
I do believe, in going back and looking at some of it, a lot of those, a good portion of sacks were on him. A good portion of sacks was him holding the ball too long. I have this thing. He does this thing where he scrambles and he's holding on to this ball instead of throwing it away. It's like, dog, there's nothing down there. Get rid of this ball. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's too much hero ball to try to play. And that's something that's a bad habit that he's developed in college and things of that nature. I get it. I totally get it. But if you really look at this, again, this is 3,500 yards, which is for the Bears. I think it's top 10 all time for the Bears.
Absolutely.
The production you were able to get out of this kid on 2 different head coaches, 3 different OCs, an entirely different, regime period, and a lot of cloudy and uncertainty at this front office. I like what we got out of it, because imagine what happens with just a little more consistency, as all you all talked about. And when you compare him to who probably will be the rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels, he's 60. He's within 30 yards of Jaden Daniels. He's only 5 touchdowns less, and he has less INTs. Jaden Daniels has a much better team.
Yeah,
Jaden Daniels has a much better offensive line. He has a better run game because he has a better offensive line, and those targets look great. And guess what? His OC looks pretty good. In fact, we probably should interview that guy too. Huh?
No, we shouldn't,
because he's on the list to interview.
He's a one read offensive coordinator. But I wanted to back up on your point right there, that we all in a consensus that CJ Stroud had one of the best rookie quarterback seasons, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. How about he's only 400, 500 yards away from what CJ Stroud hit last year, behind only 3 touchdowns, similar interceptions. So basically, with a few more better play calls throughout the year, he could have had just as good of a rookie season as CJ Stroud.
How about this? I do you one better. CJ Stroud's in his sophomore season, right? CJ Stroud only threw for 20 touchdowns this season. He threw for 12 INTs. Oh, he threw for 3,700 yards. I think that Caleb Williams is within striking distance of that, and he has a very similar completion percentage. Caleb Williams had a similar season to CJ Stroud statistically, and we praise CJ Stroud, and CJ Stroud is a really good quarterback. Things kind of just went differently for him now.
Which is
this like lets me know that not only do we have the guy, but with a little more infrastructure, man, we finally got a franchise quarterback. We finally got the franchise quarterback. So we don't mess that up right there.
And I think what the indictment is that you really have to put a team together and build it the right way. You're basically doing stopgap type stuff. And so now you realize, like, you have to, it's about the quarterback. They've changed all the rules for the quarterback. It's not about the defense. Like, the defense helps. That's good. You need the defense, as well as a complementary running game. But the rules are set up that you can barely even touch a quarterback. So, like, if you put the things in place, the offensive line, the scheme, the coordinator, the coaches, all these things in place, to now you can actually build the squad. Because it's cool to say that you get a B for Caleb, but honestly, I mean, he didn't look good the first few games at all. There was a lot of lethargic football for the first halves of most of these games. So it's like there's moments where it's like, what are you seeing out there? And then it's like all of a sudden it clicks in the fourth quarter for a few plays. So it's like, can we take those things, extrapolate that, and then, like, recreate some of that in the first half of the games next year? Can we get him into a rhythm? So I'm hoping that Yeah. I want to give him a B. I don't know. I mean,
I
technically,
don't blame him on a lot of this because I'm be honest with you, we had an OC who didn't script plays for a while.
no, they all failed him.
Listen, like who doesn't script the first 10, 15 plays?
A lot of Bears offensive coordinators.
like seriously though, like come on, what are we doing here? So like let's be for real. Like when they say we're running a script, Bears ain't have a script.
No, they didn't.
So you failed your rookie quarterback. Like it's a lot of stuff that went wrong here, and we're trying to right this ship. At this point, it's like I'm happy with what we got out of him. I'm looking forward to seeing what Pose does to put around and moving forward. Pose, you on the hot seat if you don't.
Yeah.
You out of here if you don't. Go ahead. What you got?
I got one more point that I just remembered too that has been blowing my mind for the last month and a half because everybody keeps saying it. And this is another reason why I'm glad we won. This goes back to the first topic or second topic. I'm glad we won the game. Caleb Williams' stats are empty stats. I'm tired of that narrative. We won that game because Caleb drove us down the field. He made the passes that needed to be made. He called audibles. He called a timeout when he needed to call a timeout. Like he did those things to put us up in a position to win. Yeah. And I think you even mentioned it. There's been about 4 or 5 other games where he was in a position and he actually led us down the field, but because of bad coaching, bad timeouts,
the other
or whatever. The other Green Bay where was a blocked field goal.
Blocked field goal, yeah.
Yep. So when you're talking about a third of the season, this dude has put us in moments where he's come up clutch. It's not empty stats. So I just want to make that very clear.
Shout out to
Haters always general. Listen, I still don't get the reference, but apparently it means a lot to you.
It's the general.
Muck the general. You like saluting.
My guys.
Hey, we grew up on MASH, so you know. So it's
that's a name.
MASH.
Is that a name off MASH?
Hey.
Muck?
I don't know.
No, it's not. But we're talking about that's the general.
Like the general.
Oh, I'm about to say, you mean the show that everybody knew it was time to go to bed on?
I never watched
Right,
that.
yeah.
I hated that show.
Hey, that show was funny back then.
Hey, listen, I knew it was time to go to bed. That came on. Just go ahead and roll over. It's time to go. Hey, man, we finna get up out of here, man. We appreciate all you all who came through. All 300, 400 of you all, man. Y'all catch you staying around 400. Look at y'all, man. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, no. Tomorrow we will not be back, but we'll be back in effect on Wednesday. Right. But hey, man, shout out to all you all. Peace, love for my man JC on my left.
Yep.
My man, super producer Joe Holt to my right. C-Dub over there in the ones and twos with my man Drew. We appreciate you, bro.
Oh, yes, sir.
Even though you're a hater sometimes. Hey, listen, we love you, man. Till next time, baby. Till next time. Peace.
Peace, love, and soul.